You ever come across one of them pictures on the internet that makes you go, what is wrong with you people? Your kid is on fire. Your first thought is take a picture? Right about now, I'm wishing maybe I was a little more like those people. You see, what had happened was, about 2 months after I got the daily death trap, I put a 25-year-old tonneau cover on the bed, even though it really wasn't meant for this truck. Now you gotta remember, at the time, this truck did not have a targa top, so it typically got parked outside. Right here, as a matter of fact. Nowadays, the roof panel spends more time in the bed than it does on the cab. And then about 2 months later, we had a massive thunderstorm overnight while I was sleeping. I sleep like a freight train. All the water that landed on the tonneau cover puddled right back here. And eventually, the weight of that water pushed down to the point that the rails that hold the tonneau cover flipped out from underneath these makeshift hold downs. I don't know what you call them. I never thought to take a picture. I panicked. Just needed to save my tonneau cover. Now, had we been able to use the tie downs that came from the manufacturer of the tonneau cover, that would have been fine. It probably would not have happened. But we couldn't, because those tie downs drew the rails in too close, and this truck is just a grunt wider than the truck the tonneau cover was built to fit. So today, 6 months later, mind you, we get to repair those rails so that we can get a tonneau cover back on this truck. When those rails flipped out from under the hold down or tie down or whatever, the plastic pieces off of the end of the caps, those pieces, they broke off from that section. So we've got to find a way to put these rails back together. All right, so out of the four corners, we have one that's not broken and one that's only half broken. That's this one. So what we got to do is find a way to keep these two exactly where they're supposed to be. So I went to the local hardware store and I picked up some of these corner braces. So my concept is, we're going to take these. I had to flip it upside down, obvious reasons. We're going to put this back together the way it's supposed to be and brace them together with these braces. I don't know if that's going to work or not. I guess we'll find out. Of course, now in order to do that, we're going to have to trim off some of this padding. Oh, that was easy. Hey, stay. Do that on all four corners. We need to put this on the way it's going to be. We need to, had to think about it. The way that it's going to be. And then we need to flip it further over like that, I believe. Then we can get our rails screwed together. I know you can't see crap. Now, just make sure everything's in the right position. That one will go there. That one will go there. Gotta have that in the right spot. Oh, this is not gonna be easy without some help. Oh, look, this is the corner that's still good. So let's put it back together. Now this would probably be easier if I didn't do that. This would probably be easier if I went ahead and hooked this to the rails, but that's not really an option because that's going to put so much tension on it to the point that it's going to flex in directions that it does not need to be in. More importantly, the front of that bed is a touch wider than the back of the bed. And it's the same way on the second gen, the first gen, the Ford Ranger, all of them. I'd be willing to bet that every truck is like that, but I don't know that. Because we have flipped this thing over and the back of the tonneau cover is now at the front of the truck, that means that what's at the back of the truck is wider than the truck. So it's going to be hard to make sure that this is in the right position. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why don't you just put it on the way that it was and then flip it this way? And there's a simple reason. And that reason is I'm having to do this by myself, and it'll be easier to flip this long way than flip it over the other way due to the fact that the cab is in the way. That's my thought process at the moment. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but this is what we're stuck with. All right, we got a new plan. Turn this sideways. When we get done putting everything together, we'll flip it over and then spin it. That might be easier. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and get the two corner brackets put on the back rail so that it'll hold the distance proper once I tape this bracket to that bracket. Now we've still got the one corner bracket, or the corner bracket that from the factory that's still good on that end. So let's see what happens. Now you'll notice that that is not square because this is not square. But that one's smaller, so it actually needs to go the other direction. Boys and girls, I don't know if this is going to work. It's the only idea I've got. That might allow me to save this tonneau cover. Because I'm pretty sure that the corners that are supposed to be in here, they're probably not available. Especially considering I can't find Covercraft on the internet anymore. Alright, let's see how that works. But you need to be in the right spot. Yeah, that'll work. Now technically that front left corner, we shouldn't have to put a bracket on it because it's still got the plastic clip, but we're going to do it anyway. Anything up. Preferably without tearing anything up. Yep, that might not work. Just knock that whole box of screws off. Yay! Now I am fully aware that 2/3 of the people that started this video are already scrolling through shorts. But if you're one of the 6 people that are still watching this video, thank you very much. Let me know that in the comments. Also, maybe take a moment, consider subscribing. We're getting pretty close to that all-important 1,000 subs. Now, theoretically, this entire situation could have been avoided if I'd have put these crossbows across the bed when I installed the bed cover. But there's a problem with these, and it's a personal problem. You see, it is just that. It's curved. It's a bow. And when you have a bow under your tonneau cover, it looks like you're hauling a pair of 55-gallon drums. That just don't work for me. And now I'm paying the price. The plan is to try to straighten this out at least somewhat. Get this spot here straightened out. But in the process of straightening this out, we're also going to technically make this a touch bit longer. So we're going to pull the plastic caps off. We're going to measure it. Then we're going to cut this and leave this side intact and then strengthen it back up on the back side. That's the plan. Then we'll be able to cut this to the same length that it is currently overall from long side to long side. We'll see what happens. The only problem I'm envisioning after that is the fact that this was designed to be at an angle and now it's going to be flat-ish. Still going to have a slight bow unless I cut it here too. But let's make this happen and see where it goes from here. Now, this doesn't go all the way to the top, but there's not enough space right here to put another one on the other side. Hopefully that'll be good enough. All right, after measuring out the length on these, there's only about 1/8 of an inch difference. That might change if we have to straighten out the center to keep it from having that bow. But for now, we're going to put the caps on it and roll with it, see what it looks like. Oh, that hurt. Now for the hard part. Yeah, it'd be a lot easier if it were a warm, sunny day. Don't get me wrong, it's in the 70s today, but which for my friends in North Ohio and South Ohio might be absolutely beautiful. Ah! Well, it is a lot easier than it was that very first time that I put this on, because it was 40 degrees that day. It don't quite look like there's a couple 55-gallon drums, but you can see them, but I don't know. Might be time to wash this truck. Well, if we're going to wash this thing, we might as well see if this works, and look at that. Works just like it's supposed to. If I'd installed those bars the first time, we wouldn't have dealt with this at all. Yes, I'm washing this truck with the top off and the windows down. The secret to that is low water pressure. Well, by no means is that a gold line shine, but it sure enough looks better than it did before. Especially with that tonneau cover on it. And of course, now that the truck is washed, it's gonna rain. But I should have done this months ago because the black from the tonneau cover ties in nice with the black roof. Now that roof doesn't look quite so out of place. Ties it all together. I'm gonna have to straighten out these bows just a little more. That's not horrible, but it's still not quite what I'm looking for. Overall, that's a good looking truck. Peace, love, and mini trucks.